They are the insiders, Pierre, LeBrun, and Chris Johnston. Guys, the entire hockey community is still trying to absorb the magnitude of Thursday's announcement out of Montreal. And let's face it, all of us wish Carey Price all the best, taking all the time he needs to come back 100% healthy. And Chris, it's safe to say that at this point, there really is no sense of a timeline?
Well, there basically is no timeline. There isn't one that exists. And, Marc Bergevin had told reporters on Thursday morning that, yes, they think it'll be about 30 days that Carey Price is away from the team dealing with this issue. But, the fact of the way this program works with the NHL and NHLPA is that that's completely up to the doctors, the treatments and timelines. And so it's out of the hands of the team. Montreal only learned of Carey Price having this issue on Wednesday, and they'll just have to wait and see how long it is before he's ready to be back and getting on the ice for them.
And certainly there is no bigger story on this day, not just in Montreal, but in the hockey world and Carey Price's well-being. But there was a pretty big hockey story on the side, and that was the Montreal Canadiens announcing at the start of that news conference that Marc Bergevin's future would not be addressed until after the season. Those are the words that were used by PR. Now read into that it appears Jeff Molson is shelving talks with Marc Bergevin until after the season. And read into that, at least I do, that there's a greater chance than not now that Marc Bergevin is not the GM of this team after this season. I'm not saying that 100% because certainly there could be a point this season where Jeff Molson decides to put a new offer in front of Marc Bergevin and he does extend him. But the fact that they spoke since last January about his future, that there was an offer made in July that didn't produce an agreement, and the fact that Marc Bergevin is now starting this season as a lame duck GM augments the chances of him not being GM after this year as opposed to signing an extension. Not over yet, but that's where it is right now. That's what I read into it.
Wouldn't that be something? All right, let's shift our attention now to possible trades. And again, Jack Eichel is number one on that list right now. A potential couple of developments on that front?
Yeah, so what's happened here over the last 10 plus days, and Darren Dreger had told us at the outset of this period that this would happen, is that agent Pat Brisson has had the direct green light from GM Kevin Adams in Buffalo to share more medical information with other teams. That has clarified some things for a lot of teams that are on the periphery of this thing. So number one, there's that. Some teams now are comfortable with the artificial disc replacement surgery that Jack Eichel wants to have. Other teams not so much, but at least there's some clarity either way. In the meantime, teams that have circled back to Kevin Adams, and Kevin Adams has circled back to teams, what has happened in these discussions, I'm told, is that teams are saying we have to have a conditional component to any potential trade because we don't know what Jack Eichel is going to be like when he comes back. We don't know when exactly he'll be back, although that surgery suggests 4 months. And so what the Sabres have said is, yes, we're going to have a conditional part to that trade. That's a big deal. That's a big development because now teams can feel a little more safely about entering the next phase in trade talks. I don't think a deal is imminent, but again, it's another step in the process here, everyone trying to get this deal done.
In other health news, the Pittsburgh Penguins are battling a number of cases of COVID right now. Any indication of where this all started?
Not a firm indication, but there was certainly some concern, Gino, because 2 weeks ago, there was a USHL showcase event in part played in the Penguins practice rink, and some scouts at that event did contract COVID. So when Zach Aston-Reese and Jake Gensel both were added to the NHL's COVID protocol list, there was worry that maybe it might all be connected. And at this point, the Penguins don't believe that to be the case. They think that they've, got this under control, that we're not on the verge of an outbreak here. And, what's interesting and worth remembering as we enter this season is both of those players are vaccinated. These are breakthrough cases with players that have received the vaccination. And, this is something that the NHL will still be dealing with, even with basically 99% of the people in the league having received their vaccinations.
And as we get set to drop the puck on the NHL regular season, there's a number of big-name players who are going into the final year of their contracts, and that list includes a prominent Pred.
Yeah, Mattias Ekholm, who you may remember was one of five defensemen protected in the expansion draft by the Nashville Predators. Nobody else does that, but they're always so good on D. And they did that with a bit of risk because Ekholm was not signed past this season. They have talked all offseason long about an extension. They've not been able to get one done yet. But here's the wrinkle. I'm told that agent Kurt Overhart and Ekholm have told David Poile and the Predators, if he's not signed by the start of the season, we want to shelf talks. We don't want to negotiate during the year. Is it a ploy? Is it a tactic? I don't know. I'm not in the middle of those talks. But added pressure there to get this deal done, and they continue to talk before next week.
Good emphasis. 5 from Pierre. They are 2 insiders, Pierre LeBrun and Chris Johnston on Insider Trading.